Hey crew, it's Jonesy. Um, we made it to the end of the semester, guys. I'm proud of all of us here. So I've been to four school concerts in the last 6 days, and I'm a little bit fried. So I don't have any fancy editing. I don't have any smooth dissolves. Um, and if I make any jokes, I can't promise that any of them are going to be nearly as good or entertaining as the last video. What I do have is a lot of really clear thought about my future at my current school and some reflections on how to get to where I want with that sort of program. Since it's the end of the semester, I admit I'm going to talk to you while enjoying a frosty malted beverage. So here we go. Okay, I teach at Flowing Wells High School in Tucson, Arizona. Flowing Wells is a large high school in a small district. Our district has six elementary schools, one junior high school, one mainstream high school, Flowing Wells. And that high school serves about 1,700-ish students with a little bit of flex year to year. We have a large and very well regarded fine arts department. We offer dedicated instruction and dedicated teachers for visual art, dance, theater, choir, band, orchestra, and a whole host of other subjects. Really, it's kind of a ridiculous set of offerings there. We also offer some intro courses in piano and guitar. I'm responsible for teaching three levels of orchestra, beginning, intermediate, and advanced, and also two sections of introduction to guitar. These are both full entry level courses, no experience in guitar or even music is necessary. Our band teacher teaches two levels of concert band currently, and she's adding a third next year. She also has two sections of piano and one section of jazz band. The jazz band is a pretty typical high school jazz big band. Uh, it's a little under enrolled right now. In pretty typical high school big band fashion, they have currently three trombones, four trumpets, five saxophones, and one pianist, two guitarists, one bass player, and two drummers. Um, so they're not the hugest big band, and they can do a lot of things. One of the challenges they have right now is that their teacher, who's a very good band teacher, the limit of her jazz experience is playing saxophone in her undergraduate jazz big band. That's it. She's not a proficient soloist, and I would say that her students do not solo proficiently. They play with a reasonably clean attack and sound and with a well unified sound, but again, stylistically, I don't think it's as deep a level as that could go to. Because of structural considerations at the school, I've had to come to terms with the fact that I am never going to be assigned to teach a jazz big band there. This is a shame. I feel like there's maybe a five or six people in Tucson who are as qualified as I am to direct a student big band. Um, uh, but it is what it is. It's, the string orchestra guy is never going to be assigned the jazz band by a high school administrator. So it is what it is. So during one of the discussions, I posted to you guys, and you guys were quite encouraging and saying, I'm going to propose a course that is a rhythm section based course. It will also include some chance for me to teach some improvisation skills, chance for me to branch out into some other repertoire, um, possibly verging on like a popular music ensemble sort of approach to it. It was quite flexible and would be able to meet the constraints that I have to meet in order to offer a new course at the school. I was pretty optimistic. I was hoping to replace one of the guitar classes with that course, maybe offered either every second year or if I could grow the course large enough every year. That was shot down by admin. Their take on it is that um, additional rhythm section players should just be added to the existing jazz big band. Um, when I explained to them that that's not a viable option, that that ensemble won't support having, say, five guitar players, three bass players, four drummers, or whatever they want to do, um, it was look of blank incomprehension. Um, so that's where the administrative team is at in thinking about that sort of thing. Um, they explicitly said they do not want to take away one of my intro to guitar courses. That course is very popular, but it kind of goes nowhere. There's not a second level of guitar for them to go into. So I recruit heavily for the orchestra from these guitar courses, and I say, hey, you want to go further? I have this, which has multiple levels of structure, but the administration has basically closed off the path for me to offer a second level of that. So I'm pretty frustrated. It's tough, but it is what it is. So having come to all those realizations, I have come up with an idea that I think is going to let me teach improvisation, teach jazz, and teach some Latin jazz, maybe some Cuban salsa, and also incorporate something that's in popular demand in Tucson, which is incorporate mariachi. Um, there are lots of schools locally that have very successful, very high level mariachi programs. Every one of those has somebody who is extremely fluent with that language and that style. And this guy, the Canadian immigrant, is unfortunately not the best choice on that. I would need to do a much deeper dive before I would feel competent to teach mariachi at any level. And it's not something that is in my wheelhouse currently. However, I do have an idea. What I'm going to propose is starting with an after school combo for all the reasons outlined in Dunscombe and Hill, that this is going to be small, flexible, and achievable until I can maybe get it in the timetable one day. And this combo is going to use instrumentation inspired by the Hot Club of France. So I'm going to incorporate violin, viola, cello as the lead instruments, and that can be two or more lead instruments, heck, all the way up to 5 or 6. That's very easy to scale. I'm going to incorporate upright bass as the bass instrument, and acoustic guitar as both rhythm instrument and melodic soloing instrument, a la the setup in Hot Club of France. So I think this is going to open up a lot of possibilities. I can teach using direct jazz language without having to mince my words or dumb down the content or anything like that. Since it's an after school event at the moment, I can keep this limited to students who are going to be passionate about this and dedicated to making this a really high level ensemble, and I can control this and prove that this is a viable experience before pitching it as a larger class. So I think this could be a wonderful opportunity, and I'm really quite excited about it. In terms of repertoire, I'm going to choose some classics from the Hot Club repertoire. The very first thing I'm going to pass out is going to be minor swing, right? The traditional key to do this in is A minor, and it dances around 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, and A minor. This is easy key to play in. It's going to be a quick, easy win for getting kids to play. And also, since it'll give them access to some open strings, this is going to make it easy to teach them to improvise using, say, a limited palette of notes. So, for example, while I'm teaching them to improvise and talking about just playing in a given by ear setting, I can give them a block of 3 notes, say concert G, concert A, concert C. These notes are going to be pretty inoffensive on most of the chords, but also be a springboard to say, hey, do you hear when we go to this 5 chord? You need to change your notes right here. These notes are not going to fit perfectly congruently with the 5 chord. So I think it's going to give an opportunity to use the other portion of curriculum, which is improvisation. And I'd like to base this in part on a video that we watched as part of our class. So Brad Harrison offered a video, and he gave a great taxonomy for levels of improvisation. And this is what I want to explicitly teach the kids. I'm going to say, your first approach is just going to be playing by ear. Noodle around, make it happen. Your second approach is going to be using some very basic scale choice and say, we're going to play using this limited palette of scale notes or using this complete scale. Your third choice after that is going to be using some basic chord theory. And your fourth choice after that is going to be using substitutions. So rather than using the chord you're thinking of right now, I might substitute an upper structure. And then finally, the stage after that is to say, all right, kids, go buck wild. Synthesize these things into something better. But by being explicit and showing them examples of that kind of progression, I think we can get a long ways. Um, Using a bunch of string instruments, this will let me talk about bowing direction and picking direction is a core development principle for rhythmic ideas. So much of what I already teach in guitar and orchestra classes revolves around using bowing and picking choices in order to help drive rhythmic vocabulary. So specific syncopations are going to use specific bowings and specific picking patterns. So it's going to be things that these kids are already familiar with. In terms of budget and needs and things like that, I already have all the equipment I need, including I have a couple of large diaphragm condenser mics with a cardioid um, orientation to them. So I could use that to do a gather around style miking, kind of like a bluegrass band. I think that's going to be the easiest and yield the best sound and make it feel like you're at an acoustic gig rather than I have a whole bunch of pickups going on this stuff. I have a condenser microphone for the bass so that we can mic that one separately. And I have suitable guitars and suitable string instruments to check out to the kids already. So we're pretty much good there. In terms of repertoire, all this stuff are that I'm going to propose are going to be lead sheets that are easily accessible. So this can include minor swing, like I mentioned. I already have a great arrangement I did a few years ago of Cubano Chant by Ray Bryant. I think that could be a good one. I have some mariachi and some cumbia tunes that'll be suitable for this as well. I'd probably pass out El Caballito, which is a son tradiciones. So this is from Jalisco, and it would remind you quite a lot of a 6/8 clave feel, but driven by the guitar and the strumming pattern rather than claves and güiro. Um, Ultimately, I would like to take this to competitive festivals. And I know I came down pretty hard as saying, like, I'm not into competitive festivals. I would like to make a name for this. And I think this is what my administrative team might actually respect and understand is if we go and come back with some awards in an area that is surprising to them, I might be able to say, hey, this is what we need to do. This is for the benefit of our students, and I'd like you to pay attention to that. To that end, I already have a fundraising arm in operation with the orchestra and guitar program. So if I say, hey, we need $1,500 for travel for these, 8 kids to go um, to Flagstaff and back to perform, they can come up with that using their existing fundraising methodologies. If I want to go further afield, we'll have to do a little more raising, but I do have like some opportunities for getting that going. So, anyways, while it's sad that I'm probably not going to be handed a big band anytime soon at my high school, um, I am excited for the future, and I think this could be a good path forward here. So, I'm going to call this the Hot Club of Prince Road after the intersection of Prince Road and Flowing Wells Road, where our school is, and I hope it's got a bright future. All right, guys, congratulations! Way to complete first semester. Peace.